Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to Radio Dario. This is episode 4. We're going to start off the episode going over our game picks from last week and see how we did. So going into our game picks, we can look down here and we can see I went 6-9-1. Yeah, I counted that because nobody won that game. It was a tie. So yeah, I'm going to count it as a tie. So what? 6-9-1. I thought I would have performed better. But let's just go ahead and look at some of these games and see which ones I missed, which ones I got right. So for the Bills and Rams, I got that one right with the Bills winning. I got the Saints Falcons right because I picked the Saints to win. I got the Bengals Steelers wrong. I picked the Bengals to win, but the Steelers actually won. So that was a crazy game. We'll get into that in a little bit. Out of the 49ers and Bears, I picked the 49ers to win and the Bears won. So that's another miss for me. Between the Browns and the Panthers, I picked the Browns to win. So that's a win for me. Between the Eagles and Lions, I picked the Eagles to win. So that's another win. Ravens and Jets, I picked the Ravens to win. That's another win. Patriots and Dolphins, I picked the Patriots, but the Dolphins won. Jags versus the Commanders, I picked the Jags to win, but the Commanders won. Who did the Colts play? Oh, the Texans. Colts and Texans. I picked the Colts to win, and it was a tie. So I'm gonna count that as a toss-up. Between the Raiders and Chargers, I picked the Raiders to win. Chargers won. Between the Packers and who did the Packers play? Oh, the Vikings, yes. I picked the Packers to win, and the Vikings won. Between the Titans and Giants, I picked the Titans to win, and the Giants won. Between the Chiefs and the Cardinals, I picked the Chiefs to win, and the Chiefs won. And between the Cowboys and Buccaneers, I picked the Cowboys, but the Buccaneers won. And then for the last game of the week, Broncos versus the Seahawks, I picked the Broncos to win with Russell Wilson, and the Seahawks won. So that's how we got to our 6-9-1 record. Let's go into a little bit more in depth on some of the games here. So, what are your thoughts on what we saw NFL Week 1? So, what we saw NFL Week 1, we saw a couple of things in NFL Week 1. We saw a crazy game between the Steelers and Bengals. During that game, I was watching it early on because it was the game before the Chiefs came on, and I was really impressed with the Steelers defense. Minka Fitzpatrick having an interception earlier on in that game, cutting the route perfectly. TJ Watt just being a wreck in the game. Hayward coming up the middle, making plays. I mean, Joe Burrow did not look comfortable in that pocket at all. I'm thinking the Bengals are going to have a tough time ahead of them if they can't address that offensive line moving forward. So the Steelers defense really impressed me, but I said earlier on in the game, hey, for as great as the Steelers have been playing, it's only a one possession game. Only a one possession game for as great as their defense has been playing. That means, and the crazy thing is, Trubisky didn't have any turnovers. He was the definition of a game manager. But he was not doing anything to help the team win. Najee Harris didn't have the best game either. So what you saw was a product of an offense that couldn't get going and a really great defense hold down a really great offense. And the really great offense was held back by their offensive line. So between that Steelers-Bengals games, it really could have went either way. Came down to kickers missing, overtime. I mean, and how about that? The famous laces. You can't have the laces out. Laces out, not laces in. Laces out. Laces out. Everybody knows that. I'm surprised they didn't call a timeout or something, when the snap came out wrong. But hey, it is what it is. Vikings Packers. One thing about that game that I will say is Justin Jefferson is a dog. He's the truth. If you doubted that man, doubt no more. He is the truth. I saw a statistic that only person that has had more 150-yard games receiving at this age is Randy Moss. Randy Moss. You talking about, oh, you got Moss? Yes, that Randy Moss. I mean, Justin Jefferson is the truth. And I'm really, really impressed with how they played against the Packers. I mean, from what I heard, Kirk Cousins is calling plays in the huddle. And when he gets up there at the line, I mean, that's a lot of responsibility that they're entrusting in Kirk Cousins. And to be honest, it looks like it's having an impact. I mean, that was a really great game. I watched some of the 49ers and Bears game. Early on, it was a really bad game. I'm just being honest. Just watching, I mean, with the rain and everything like that, you got to see a lot of sloppy play there. But the Bears offensive line looks a lot like the Bengals offensive line starting off. I mean, they weren't giving Justin Fields much time at all to make a play. I mean, he was constantly having to get the ball out early. The timing was off with the receivers. Now, I will say this. I didn't get a chance to switch back over in the second half, so I don't know how they performed in the second half to go on and beat the 49ers. But what I can say is, from what I saw from them in the first half, the Bears looked like a 3-win team to me. They looked like all they were good for was 3 wins this year. And to come to find out, they came and beat the 49ers. I think that says more about the 49ers than the Bears. I think the 49ers are in for a rude awakening with Trey Lance. Now, the kid has a ton of potential. He's mobile. He has a great arm. He's what you are looking for in a quarterback in today's game. But I don't see the production. The production there. The production is not there. I don't care if you have the skill set, the tools, and all that. Only thing that comes down to it at the end of the game is producing and winning games. And that is not what he's doing at this point. Especially against the Bears. You got to find a way to win that one. Chargers, Raiders, pretty good game. Derek Carr threw a few interceptions that probably made that game a little bit out of reach for them. They got to lower down on the turnovers, but ultimately, I think the Raiders are still a good team. I think they're still a good team this year, even though they lost to the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers are a really good team as well. I didn't really watch the Commanders-Jaguars game. I thought Trevor Lawrence would be taking a step forward this year. That's why I had put my bet on the Jaguars, but looks like the Commanders came to play. I mean, Carson Wentz was at 100 yards throwing just outside of the first quarter. I mean, dude was balling. As you can see there, you got the Saints and Falcons playing. Taysom Hill doing what he does best, staying mobile, being a physical player, and running it up the field to get them a touchdown. I thought the Saints would win more convincingly than what they did against the Falcons. That was a really close game. I mean, how about week 1? Week 1 was filled with a lot of crazy drama and unexpected. Even this Browns-Panthers game. I mean, Baker Mayfield was gunning for that game like he really, really wanted to win. And they lost. I mean, that game came down to, the last few plays as well. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, as an NFL, as a football fan, how could you not love week 1? Week 1 is what we live for in the NFL. It's what we want to see from our teams. We want to see close games. We want to see battles. We want to have a great time just watching football and be able to talk about it come Monday morning with all your peers, coworkers, friends, colleagues, whatever it may be, or whatever setting that you're in when you get the chance to talk about this stuff. But this is what we're talking about. We want to talk about these games and how close they were and how teams were able to come out to get a win. I mean, look at that. Jaguars, Commanders. I'm still not used to calling them the Commanders. Redskins, Commanders. Jaguars, Commanders, 22-14, and they come and they answer and they make plays. I mean, all these games were very competitive and really fun to watch. So, around the NFL, my biggest takeaway, just looking at the NFL Week 1, Dak Prescott didn't look good before his injury. And I put a lot of stock in the Cowboys. I was rooting for the Cowboys this year to be a successful team. Micah Parsons He's the truth. He's the real deal. Okay? If Dak Prescott didn't get hurt and the team's able to become more successful, I think we could be talking about Micah Parsons as a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. But I don't think you can win Defensive Player of the Year if your team isn't successful. And at this moment, I don't see the team being successful with who's their backup quarterback, Rush. I just don't see the team being successful with him playing the quarterback position. Maybe they try to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, but I highly doubt the 49ers move off of Jimmy Garoppolo at this point, considering the fact that they're a little stuck with Trey Lance. I think if Trey Lance doesn't get playing better, they'll put Jimmy Garoppolo back out there. So, great insurance policy right there so that they can get things back together. Ending it up with the game that we saw Monday night, Broncos and Seahawks. Another close game. Got some questions about that time management down the stretch there from the Broncos head coach. Ended with a 64-yard field goal attempt that was missed. Russell Wilson didn't really look that great to me. He didn't look like an elite quarterback. Let's put it like that. He looked like a starting quarterback in the NFL for sure, but he did not look like an elite quarterback that would make me feel threatened as a Chiefs fan, as any fan that is looking at the Broncos to make noise in the AFC West. If they perform like they did tonight against the Seahawks, against any of the teams in the AFC West, I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening. So, that's what we got here for our Around the NFL. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic, which is going to be Chiefs review. This is what I want to talk about, right? I mean, am I a homer because I want to talk about the Chiefs? Am I a homer because I want to talk about the Chiefs? So what? Yes, I am a homer. We got to talk about my boys. They balled out. They absolutely balled out. Let me get some water. My boys balled out this Sunday. I was jumping up and down. My brother was jumping up and down. My son was jumping up and down. We had ourselves a good time. As I said, as an NFL fan, you love to see close games throughout the week, throughout that Sunday, to have competitive games to be excited to watch and talk about with your friends. And also as a fan, for the team that you're rooting for them to get a dominating win like they did against the Cardinals is every fan's dream. I mean, Pat did hurt his hand in this game. We're a little concerned about that, but it's not his dominant hand, so I think he'll play through it and will continue to be successful. I mean, even with playing through that, he still carved up the Cardinals. He hurt his hand earlier on in that game. I will say this. I am super surprised by Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think a lot of Chiefs fans can agree with me on this. In the past, what we've seen from Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the ability not to fight through tackles and gain extra yards. I think he averaged 6.3 yards per carry that game, and he constantly was getting through that first tackler, fighting for extra yards. And then he was a really great impact in the passing games. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire really made an impact. I was super surprised. 2 receiving touchdowns. Man, if he can perform like that this year, I will not be mad at it one bit. Travis Kelce still looks like Travis Kelce, the best tight end in the league. Yes, the best tight end in the league. He's been that for a while. Stop comparing him with these other guys. He is number one, and no one is close. My boy Travis Kelce is top 2 in this league, and he's not 2. Okay? He still looks great. Juju Smith-Schuster looks really great. We got to make sure we're protecting that ball. He had a couple of times where he gave the ball up. One of them turned into a turnover that could have led to points if he did not fumble that opportunity away. But he did look tough catching the ball inside the numbers and taking hits, not being afraid of it. I really enjoyed it. Sky Moore had a really great catch and was able to make a play. And Travis Kelce, you know, of course, was making plays nonstop. Jody Fortson, one play, one target, one catch, touchdown. I'm thinking that dude's I think he's gonna have an array of touchdowns early on in the season, all in goal line stands. So I'm predicting he's gonna have about 7-8 touchdowns on a year. I think a lot of those touchdowns are gonna come early on in the season. Then at the end of the season, you'll start seeing him get chunk yards because they find him as a threat in the goal line, and he'll be more so used as a decoy when we get down the goal line later on in the season. But he'll start gaining more big play yardage while we're driving down the field. 32 and 38 were all over the field on our defense. L'Jarius Sneed made plays after play after play. Nick Bolton made play after play after play. I mean, there go 32 again. There go 32 again. 38 with the sack. 38 is just around the ball. I mean, these two players was around the ball. Number 50, Willie Gay, was around the ball a lot too. He didn't make as many plays, but he was there and around the ball and making an impact. I mean, our defensive line was getting some pretty good pressure. We got home for 3 sacks. 2 of them came from defensive line play. 1 of them came from that corner blitz from L'Jarius Sneed. But man, I can't tell you. And Kyler Murray's a very mobile quarterback that can be tough to deal with, and keeping them honest and keeping them back there in that pocket. And several times we would have had more sacks if Kyler Murray didn't throw the ball away, which, I mean, that's what he's supposed to do. He's not supposed to take the sack. But there's several times where he got pressured and he just got the ball out of his hands to throw it away. So, I mean, look at that. Marquise Valdez-Scantling. I might have said his first name wrong, but that's all right. Everybody was making plays. I mean, when Pat said you're going to hate it, fantasy lovers, you're going to hate our receivers, because he is willing and dealing. He's spreading that thing around. And I love to see it. I love to see it. And the disrespect's got to stop. The disrespect has got to stop for my man Patrick Mahomes. Like how I said, Travis Kelce is top 2 and he's not 2. Look, top 5 quarterbacks in the league. See my Chiefs cup? Yeah. Top 5 quarterbacks in the league. Patrick Mahomes. Pat Mahomes. The baby GOAT. Number 15 for the Chiefs. And Patty Mahomes, or the Grim Reaper, whatever you want to call him. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the greatest quarterback alive. Okay? Stop with the disrespect. I don't want to hear y'all comparing him to no one else. Stop comparing Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. Their accolades do not match to Patrick Mahomes' accolades. They're not in the same level. Stop comparing them. He's number 1 by a long shot. Number 1 by a long shot. I mean, I could talk about the Chiefs all day. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. I could talk about the Chiefs all day. But I can't be a complete homer and bore you guys with all the Chiefs talk. Actually, I can. It's my show. I can do whatever I want. But super, super, super excited about what we saw out there from our Kansas City Chiefs. Super, super excited about what we saw out there. We dropped a 40 ball on a pretty decent team. I don't think the Cardinals will make the playoffs, but I also don't think they're a 3-4 win team. I think they win 8 games this year. I think the Cardinals win 8 games this year, and I don't understand how Kingsbury got an extension and they haven't had any playoff success and very few playoff appearances. They ended off the year bad last year, and they didn't perform well in the playoff game at all. What you saw out of the Cardinals against us Sunday is very reminiscent to what we saw out of the Cardinals in the playoffs. Not a good football team. So, going into previewing next week's game, it's a short week for us. We got the Chargers this Thursday. The Chargers, hate to admit this, the Chargers are a really good team. They have a really great defense. Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel Jr. Don't he play for the Chargers? Yeah, Asante Samuel Jr. Derwin James. They have a really great defense. And pair that with Justin Herbert. Don't compare Justin Herbert to Patrick Mahomes, but he's a good quarterback. He's not in the same level as Patrick Mahomes, but he's a good quarterback. He's a Pro Bowl quarterback. I'll say he's top 5. Actually, he might be 6. Because remember, like I said, Mahomes is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's Patrick Mahomes. And Justin Herbert, you can have 6. You and Josh Allen can fight it out for 6. But the Chargers are a great team. The Chiefs are going into a battle. They're going to have to bring their A game, and I'm excited to see it. You think we scared? We are the returning champs. We own the West. We aren't worried about the Chargers. Do the Chargers usually play us tough? Yes. Yes, they do. Have the Chargers won a playoff game recently? No. No, they haven't. So we're not worried about the Chargers. The Chargers need to be worried about us. And I cannot wait to see that game. Look for the Chargers to force Clyde Edwards-Helaire to beat them. They're going to dare us to run the ball. Oh, and I hope they do. Because there's a young man late in the Cardinals game still playing like he was trying to win a game. Still running hungry. And a quote from that young man once we drafted him was, "I'm coming to take a grown man's job." And that's what he's going to do against the Chargers. I'm calling it now. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to have a decent game against the Chargers, but I think it's going to be one Isaiah Pacheco that really hits the Chargers in the mouth. Oh, I'm excited to see it. And of course, Pat's going to be Pat. So we ain't got to worry about that. So let's go into our game picks for this week. Going into next week, we're going to kind of run through it. Actually, let me pull up the schedule real quick. Make sure I know what's going on here. All right. So, going into week 2, we got the Chiefs-Chargers. I'm going with the Chiefs to beat the Chargers, of course. Hometown fan. I don't care what you say. I'm probably always going to pick the Chiefs. I'm always going to pick the Chiefs. Okay? Patriots-Steelers. I'm going with the Steelers in this one. That defense really impressed me. And I didn't see much fight on the Patriots against the Dolphins. Panthers versus Giants. Baker Mayfield, you showed some grit there against the Browns in your old team. But I feel like you should have won that game, even though I knew you weren't. I'm going with the Giants. Saquon Barkley, I'm a believer, buddy. Keep running that ball like you have been. Jets versus Browns. I'm going with the Browns. I think the Browns beat the Jets and get their second win, and they're on pace to run into the playoffs without Deshaun Watson playing a game until week 9 when he comes back. Colts Jaguars. I'm going with the Colts. Colts, you guys let me down last week by tying that game, but I'm going with you guys again to beat the Jaguars. So come on, pull through for me. We need to get my record up. I'm 6-9-1. We got to have a winning record by the end of this year. Dolphins, Ravens. I'm going with the Ravens to beat the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins' offense did look good. But then again, the Patriots didn't show that much grit to me. Between the Saints and Buccaneers, I'm going with the Saints. Tom Brady looked a little older in that first game against the Cowboys. He looked a little older. Micah Parsons got some pressure on him, and you could tell Tom Brady was uncomfortable. I'm going with the Saints, probably against my worst judgment here. I probably should be going with Tom Brady. Shouldn't be picking against the GOAT, but I'm going with the Saints. Commanders and Lions, I'm going with the Commanders to beat the Lions. Seahawks, 49ers. Look, Trey Lance, if you're going to be him, that guy in the NFL, you got to beat the Seahawks this week. You gave one away against the Bears. You cannot lose back-to-back games to start off the season against the Bears and Seahawks. You can't. So I'm going with the 49ers. Falcons, Rams, I'm going with the Rams. Cardinals versus the Raiders. Look, Cardinals, we embarrassed y'all. If y'all don't come back and play with some heart and some energy, y'all done. Forget the 8 games I said y'all were going to win. Y'all be lucky if y'all win 4. So I'm going with the Cardinals this week because they got to come back and play with some heart after getting a 40 ball put on them by us. Texans, Broncos. I'm going with the Broncos. Russell Wilson, you got to get on track because you shouldn't have lost to the Seahawks. If you're as good of a quarterback as everybody said you are, you shouldn't have lost to the Seahawks. But hey, that 12th man was deafening, and maybe you can get back on track this week against the Texans. Bengals, Cowboys. I'm going with the Bengals, but I also think Joe Burrow will have another week of bad turnovers with that offensive line, and I think Michael Parsons is going to feast and eat on them. They better come up with a good blocking scheme to try to slow them down. If not, you could be looking at a record-breaking day for Michael Parsons. Bears, Packers. Going with the Packers. Yeah, Packers, Aaron Rodgers, you got to figure it out. And how about Aaron Rodgers? He didn't look good in that game against the Vikings. He was getting all frustrated, yelling at everybody. Where's your composure at? You gotta get it together, Aaron. Gotta get it together. I'll put in Jordan Love. Titans, Bills. I'm gonna go with the Bills. They did look good in week 1. I'm not gonna be a hater. The Bills did look good in week 1. Still don't think they're a threat. Not to the Chiefs anyways. But I'm going with the Bills over the Titans. And between the Eagles and Vikings, I am going with the Vikings. Because Justin Jefferson's the truth, and I am a believer. So those are our game picks this week. Let's try to get our record up from 6-9-1 and get a more successful record this week. We're gonna have a bounce back week. Uh-oh. Let's see here. Next topic is, what are your thoughts on Patrick Beverly comments? Let me go ahead and play Patrick Beverly comments for you guys, so y'all know what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and hear this dude. There we go.
You'll be playing with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Yeah?
I made the playoffs last year. They didn't. It's the difference. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but I'm glad that, we get a chance to play with each other. Then, anything else, I'm excited to see it go on. I'm excited to, to get the battling going.
Uh-oh. He said, I might have to play that back. Just to.
You'll be playing with LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
They'll be playing with me.
I made the playoffs last year. They didn't. What's the difference?
I made the playoff last year. They didn't. Peep this. Patrick Beverly, who do you think you are? You know what? I'm going to leave it alone. He made the playoffs. They didn't. He got a point. Lakers, y'all got to figure it out. Y'all should have made the playoffs last year. There's no excuses, even with the injuries. Y'all should have made the playoffs last year. You know what? I'm waiting. The more and more I start talking and thinking about this, I'm actually with Patrick Beverly. They playing with him. Yeah, they playing with him. He made the playoffs. They didn't. Nah, that dude tripping. Patrick Beverly, he's wild. He's wild. He's wild. All right. So can we talk about it? Can we talk about poetry? So one of the things about me, guys, that I probably haven't shared with you all is I used to be really, really into poetry. I haven't done poetry in a while. I'm gonna try to recite a poem from memory for you guys today for our Can We Talk About It section. But I'm also gonna try to see if I still have it on my phone to reference back to, just in case if I forget it. Let's see if it's even on my phone. It's not even on my phone. So I'm gonna just have to remember it, I guess. Let me check one more thing. I did this back in the day. Aha! Okay. So I got this just in case if I run into any issues. But I'm going to try to do it from memory for you guys. And if I stumble, I'll just come back to it. So this poem that I'm about to do for you guys is called Man in the Mirror. Gotta look in the mirror to keep my mind cleared. Cause real didn't recognize real until fake appeared. This war can get the best of you if you let it. Have you on your knees crying and hurt more every minute? See, I never really wanted to admit this, but I was suicidal. I wanted my life to be finished. Because the way they built this world, you can't win. So why should I suffer out my days until the end? They say money don't buy happiness. Well, happiness don't pay the bills, and I'm damn sure not happy about skipping multiple meals. In the past, the one thing keeping me from ending it all was the way I knew my family would feel. See, I'm not that selfish. That's why I never thought to steal. Can't take away from another just because I'm in need. Only way I could cope was praying to the Lord. Man, I'm on my knees, looking in the sky just ready to scream. I guess it really is all about the cream. Dollar bills, y'all. See, I personally don't care about money, but the cash rolls everything around me. So I thought success would make me happy. But the harder I worked for it, the more I felt lonely. Full-time student, full-time worker, killing my mind just to make it a little further. Missing my moms, I ain't seen her in weeks. Me and my best friend hardly ever get to speak. I got a lot of love from my aunt. It's almost like she raised me, but no cause of visit to her. I'm surprised she doesn't hate me. But with the pain and the stress, I finally feel blessed. Learning from my mistakes, I finally know what's best. See, I'm still pushing for success, but I refuse to do it for a check. You don't understand how I'm feeling? Man, forget them dead presidents. Picture me broke as... Oh, whoa. Something just came over me. It's like a little bitty angel just started holding me. I look down to get a glimpse of his face. The light shines so bright it hurts my eyes worse than the mace. I heard a voice start to utter. It sounds so much like a familiar stutter. I know when I grow up I won't be nothing like I am. My mind's so alone I won't be recognized by fam. Look at him. Bugaboo has gotten old. Look at him. Simba has turned cold. What happened to the smile that Darius I used to know? You gave up and let the negative energy take away your glow. I need you to realize you still have the same soul. You used to have plans. You didn't call them goals. I can't believe that you would just accept defeat. Then over and over again he repeats. Nobody likes me. Nobody likes me. And that statement is what allowed me to see that the angel was 5-year-old me. He looked me dead in the eyes and he said, Sometimes you gotta look in the mirror to keep your mind cleared, because real didn't recognize real until fake appeared. Thank you guys for listening to that poem. I wrote that poem maybe 10 years ago now. So that was a poem was from 10 years ago. Just wanted to share it with you guys, show you something else about me, a glimpse into who I am as a person. But with that, we made it through episode 4. We're going to end it out with our song of the week, which is Kody Blue 31 by J.I.D. So I'm going to go ahead and mute it. And I guess I really don't have to mute it. I can talk through it, but we're going to mute it anyway.
niggas.
Our feature presentation.
I pray to Lord my soul to keep. The pressure makes me, the journey takes me to places where history can't stop or break me. You know it rains for something, you know the pain's for something. I hope a change is coming. Just keep on swinging on. Swinging, little sis, keep swinging, little bro. I'm about to swing on Terry Payne because he said my sister hoe. Getting high from swishy sweets, chariots are swinging low. Swastikas in the police, hang a nigga swinging roll. Pee-wee tried to swing on me, but I was with like 50 folks and he ain't know. But what was worse, I ain't even want no beef for bro. We was told it, we was soldiers, we was soulless, we was sold it. Saying something about his set, nigga that who he swinging for. Swear you bitches don't know shit about our stress, about our woes, and my obsession with success by definition of my own. Sure as death is waiting on our flesh and bones. Demon calling my spirit, had to click the phone. Couldn't get to Courtney quick enough to give her warm big hugs. Told her you like the strongest woman on the fucking globe. I watched my mama lose her mama, go through drama and trauma, but had to keep her head high so we don't fucking know. I'm getting older, so when the world's feeling enormous on your back and on your arms, and your feet just as heavy, you've been dragging through the storm. Staring at this city, but you trapped inside the hole. Get your back up off the road, just keep swinging on. Swing on, swing on. Swing on, 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 swing on. You know it rains for something. Swing on, swing on.
Wipe them out. All right. And one more time.
That's paparazzi right there. All right.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 4. Appreciate everything. I know. I said I was going to start streaming. I tried it. You probably can see my little test down there somewhere. I had no clue what I was doing. So I'm going to figure out some things and we might try to give it another go. But I appreciate you guys participating with me. As you can see, we got a new background this week with the subscribe and like and all that kind of stuff. But appreciate you guys following in with me. Please keep giving me feedback, and we're gonna keep rocking this thing. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day, and see y'all next week.